Down, 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 down. Bow, bow. Bow, now, 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 now. All right, you jukebox heroes, welcome to episode 1 of our Foreigner review series. Thank you for joining. We're going to be going through the discography of the rock band Foreigner, which I'm excited to go through. Listened to them a lot last year. And to join me on this journey through Foreigner, we have Jason the Old Millennial and Jacob Martin. How are you guys doing today?
Well,
that is great. Thank you for joining me on this amazing series. Today we are reviewing Foreigner's self-titled debut album, 1977. And there's the back, there's a train. Before we get into this album, we got to go over a little background information. Background information! Okay, so Foreigner begins back in about 1976 when a guitarist named, or 1975 maybe even, a guitar player named Mick Jones was a part of several different bands. Most famously, he played with, I think he was a touring member for the British rock group Spooky Tooth, was the most famous one. That band dissolved, he played with another band. Anyways, Mick Jones has been in and out of bands throughout the early to mid 70s. And so he thinks, I've been in and out of bands. Where do I go from here? So he talks to someone and he says, maybe start your own band. So Mick Jones decides, okay, I'm going to start my own band. He looks around. He meets this guy. His name was Al Greenwood. Al Greenwood was a keyboard player. He was getting into synthesizers because synthesizers were on the rise in the 1970s. Him and Al Greenwood decide that they're going to start a band. They look around. They ended up finding a bunch of other members, including a very important member whose name was Ian MacDonald. And it's funny because Ian MacDonald, that name may sound familiar, maybe not to you guys, but to some of our other viewers. He's a founding member of the British art rock group King Crimson. And he was the saxophone and flute player. So if you know 21st Century Schizoid Man, he's the one who goes. That's him doing that saxophone solo. Because he was only on that band's first album. He kind of was out of work for a while. They found him. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He can play the flute. He can play the saxophone. He can play keyboards. He can even play guitar too. So Ian MacDonald is basically the Brian Jones of this band. Anyway, they have everything all lined up, but they just got one problem. Who's going to sing? So they auditioned, it looks like they said they auditioned 40 different singers, and they weren't happy with any of them. They decided, where are we going to find the singer when Mick Jones was handed a copy of this album? The album was called, I don't remember the name of the album, but it was by a band called Black Sheep. He listened to that and they said, who's the singer? And they said, his name is Louis Grammatico. So they said, let's audition him. They auditioned him. He's in the band. He's the new singer, except they shortened his name to Lou Graham. They thought that sounded cooler.
That sounds good. Yeah.
So now that Lou Gramm, the Italian from New York powerhouse vocalist, is in the band, everything was kind of falling into place. Everything was all good. So they go into the studio. They record this album. They released it in the spring of 1977. It was certified gold only 8 days later. That's how big this album blew up. And it would go on to sell 5 million copies as of now. This album has sold 5 million copies. One of them is right here. Yeah, it's a big seller. This album contains 2 massive radio hits. Feels Like the First Time and Cold as Ice. It also has a minor radio hit, Long, Long Way from Home. But the whole album is really good, full of classic, sounds like stuff you'd hear on classic rock radio, characterized by powerful guitar riffs from Mick Jones, really cool synthesizer playing from Al Greenwood, and of course, Lou Gramm's vocals. Now, what's interesting is they decided on the band name Foreigner because they were going to call the band name Trigger, but they found out that there was another band who had that name, so they had to switch the name. 3 of these guys were British, and 3 of these guys were American. So they said, no matter where we go, 3 of us are going to be, or half of us are going to be foreigners, and then that's where they got the name. So they said, okay, we'll be Foreigner. And that's it. What do you guys? What's your kind of general thoughts on Foreigner's debut album before we go track by track on there?
Yeah, of course, this is a new album for me. I've heard 4 and I've heard Double Vision. In fact, I have Double Vision on vinyl. So this is the 3rd album I've heard from them. And overall, pretty good debut. Obviously, the 2 big hits. They start off with 2 big hits, which is crazy because I mean, wow, it's like that's definitely a good start to the album. Everything else was new to me, and I would say I wasn't crazy about every song on here. There were some other nice deep cuts on here, and overall, I think the lead singer is, to me, the MVP of the album. I thought he killed it vocally, and that's probably the best part of the album. That I think that would make me, say it's a good album, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, Foreigner is a band that I've really liked. I love a lot of their radio hits. And I thought this was a really strong debut album. Actually, I bought this at Barnes & Noble one time. I have
Nice.
the Foreigner 5 album pack. So I got their first 5 albums. I think I found this at Barnes & Noble one time.
Those are all the good ones. They kind of get spotty after that.
Yeah, so this is the first album. As Jason already pointed out, you start off with 2 monster hits in a row, 2 of their biggest hits. One of them is probably my top 3 Foreigner songs for the time being. There's also some really good deep cuts. I love the guitar work on this album. There's some good hooks on a lot of these songs. Yeah, this is just a really good rock album.
That's good. I definitely enjoy this album. Solid stuff. I mean, some of these songs you're still hearing on the radio today. Shows the testament of how great they are. Lou Gramm got to be one of the top 20 rock vocalists of all time. Mick Jones knows how to write a guitar riff. They're just putting it plain and simple. All these songs are built around these huge riffs, and the melody a lot of the time kind of follows the. It's building off the riff. Al Greenwood get a chance to play some 70s synthesizers, really cool. Ian McDonald is kind of like the icing on the cake here. You get some saxophones sometimes. Really cool. It's just. This album is a vibe. It's a rock vibe. If you just like rock music, you're gonna like this album because it's really good. So let's go ahead and get started with our track by track review of Foreigner, starting with track number 1, Feels Like the First Time, and we are going to go Jason, and then me, and then Jacob.
All right. Starting off with a huge hit song, one that I've heard many times on the radio, so very familiar with this one, of course. And yeah, great opener to the album. It's one of the best songs on the album, 100%. Again, like I said, man, once you hear Lou Graham's vocals, man, they are so good. When you get that intro and then he kicks in and you're like, wow, he's got a really good voice. I love the backing vocals is another highlight for this album. Anytime the other members come in on backing, it is so good. I love, because this one they kind of go with he's going through the verse, I believe, and he's kind of getting to the end of the verse, and you get these ooh, ah, and then they do these ahs, and as they're doing it, it's getting louder. He's getting louder. It's kind of building up, and then we get to the feels like the first time. Like, so it's a great build up to that moment of the chorus, and when they all sing together, it sounds so good. I love when the whole band kind of sings together, like on that chorus, and it's kind of really kind of crescendoing to that moment, because the chorus is the best part of the song. It's so catchy when they're singing together. And then I love that moment when it kind of slows down a little bit, and he goes, feels like the first time. Feels, I don't know, he kind of slows it down a little bit, like I've never before, something like that. Really cool moment of the song, but yeah, it's a great song.
I always say, the first song on your first album has got to say a lot about who you are as a band. And man, does this deliver. This is a perfect setup for what you're about to hear, both in this band's discography and on this band's first album. You drop the needle on this record, and the first thing you get is that guitar riff. Bow, 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 down, bow, bow, down, bow, 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 down, bow, and then it builds up. You get the drums, and then there's a synthesizer. It sounds like a sequencer that's like going behind it, and it's like, whoa, it sounds like it's from the future, even though it's like 50 years old almost. It has a lot of clever key changes in it. The song changes keys several times, always getting back to that chorus where they're all singing, very powerful anthemic chorus, and then the bridge. They're singing that, it feels like the first time, and then the synthesizer's like,
Yeah.
like it's playing like a counter melody behind it, and it's just building up to the never again. Like, when he does that, it's just like, dude. And then you get the guitar solo from Mick Jones, which is like this crazy, like, you know, doing these little arpeggios extremely fast. Yeah, I can see why this one was a big hit. All I'm saying is this one is gonna get you going for the entirety of this album.
This is how you open a rock album. It's got some great guitar riffs, that synthesizer part, which every time I hear that, it always sounds like somebody's trying to call somebody on those old school phones. That's what it always feels like when I hear that. But yeah, I think the best thing about the song, the vocals from Lou Graham, he really belts it, especially in the chorus. That bridge part is really cool. I love the backing vocals. Just a great way to start off the album. One of your biggest hits. This is a good way not only to start off the album, but to introduce yourself as the new hip rock band that breaks it big. So yeah, this is easily in my top 3 songs on the album.
All right. Well, that was the opener. One of the big things when making a good album is the second track going to hold your attention, or is this album just a vehicle to get your hit single as the first song on the album? We'll find out when we talk about track number 2, which was the second single from the album, Cold as Ice.
Yeah, interesting. The second song is their other big hit on the most recognizable song on the album, and that yeah, obviously this is a song I knew on the radio. I kind of was familiar with it, but I don't know if I've ever was really in love with it until I was listening on this album, and I was like really listening to it, and I was like, man, this song is awesome. Like, I again love the vocals, but I love the beginning. There's kind of like a keyboard sounding. I'm on the keyboard playing, and then the keyboard with Lou Graham's vocals over it. Man, that sounds so great. Again, I'm kind of same thing. The first song, my favorite part that really puts us over for me is when they go to that kind of, I guess maybe it's a bridge or whatever, when he goes cold as ice, cold as ice, I know, cold as ice, whatever. The backing vocals are singing that cold as ice so slowly. Oh my gosh, it sounds so great. And then him going over, like belting out the other part of it. That really makes the song like one of my favorite now. Foreigner songs. So.
This was the very first Foreigner song that I had ever heard. I remember hearing it on the radio and hearing that piano at the beginning and just being like, what is that? That is such a cool piano part. That bow, 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 bow. There's some interesting chords going on there. So there's like an augmented chord, which is weird. You get to the part where he says like, someday you'll pay, and then the guitar comes in with the solo. Cold as Ice was the first guitar solo I ever learned how to play. I like the runs in it, like the it's like going off that pattern, just up the neck. And then you get the bridge that Jason was talking about. So cool. I love the backing vocals, especially whenever it's like they like stagger them. Or it's like cold, cold, cold as ice, and then you get that big pow down, 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 down. Such a good song. I love this one.
I'll never forget the first time I ever heard Cold as Ice. Growing up, we had a compilation album. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Now That's What I Call series. We had one, it wasn't one of the mainline ones, but I had one called Now That's What I Call Classic Rock. And one of the songs on that was Cold as Ice. And I'll never forget the first time I heard that song was on that compilation CD. And that piano intro kicked in. I'm like, this doesn't sound like classic rock. This sounds like Foreigner on Broadway. Fast forward about 15 years or so now, this is in my top 3 Foreigner songs. This is the one I said, this is an all-timer for me as far as Foreigner goes. The piano riff in this song is epic. I love the guitar's parts. Some good drumming on here too, even though this is more of a slower, not really a ballad. I guess it's more of a mid-tempo type song than anything else. But it's a really fun song to sing along to. The backing vocals are amazing, especially during the bridge. I love it when Lou Gramm belts it throughout the song, especially at the end. Yeah, this is one of my absolute favorite Foreigner songs.
Okay, so we're going to get to our first deep cut on the album, featuring a rare vocal performance by the guitar player Mick Jones, Starrider.
Yeah, boy, it's kind of hard after those first 2 songs. It's a bit of a step down because I'll say right now, those are the 2 best songs on the album. So it's interesting we start with the 2 strongest songs, and then everything else is like, wow, none of this is it's not gonna measure up to those first 2, and so it's always gonna hurt the song. Maybe, I don't know. Starrider to me was okay, but it was a little slow moving compared to those first 2. Were very nice, upbeat, catchy. And then you get this kind of slow with a lot of flute in it, which must be Ian McDonald, as you talked about, because there was a lot of flute on this song. I thought the chorus was good, though, and again, the vocals were good, but it was just okay.
I'm going to have a little bit of a differing opinion on this one. I think this song is amazing. A lot of these guys have a little bit of progressive rock background, mainly Ian McDonald, who I think is the one who co-wrote this song, if I'm not mistaken. Let me find out.
Mick Jones and Al Greenwood.
Ah, okay. But I know Mick Jones was in Spooky Tooth, and they were kind of proggy as well, so this is probably the most progressive rock-sounding song that Foreigner's done. Even then, it's not extremely long, but cool to see them kind of experiment a little bit, especially with that flute. Ian McDonald, very talented flute player, does the flute on Epitaph from the King Crimson album. Starting out with that, I like the guitar playing for Mick Jones. He's doing strumming the acoustic guitar. And I love whenever it gets to I don't know if you would call it a chorus. It's hard to label the structure of this song. But when it gets to the wow, and you get that flanger guitar sound effect, And there's like wow, Starrider, right? And the synths are and I love the end of the guitar solo where it's like the and the bridge. We switch over from Mick Jones to Lou Gramm, and Lou Gramm takes over for the rest of the song, where it's like the speed increasing, all control is in the hands of those who know. Will they help us grow? You know, he's the one day be Starrider. You know, because he's doing the high part. I don't know if Mick Jones could do that. So I would have rather had Lou Gramm do the whole song. Mick Jones works well on the other song he sings on this album, "Woman, Oh Woman," but I'd want to hear Lou Gramm do the whole thing on this one.
Yeah, this was a song I had heard before listening to the album. I think this is a really epic deep cut from Foreigner. Probably the best deep cut on the whole album. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but this is also in my top 3. So the first 3 songs on this album are the best songs. And I didn't have a problem with Mick Jones singing. I thought he did a really good job. I think it fits the tone of this song awfully well. It kind of has like a sci-fi feel to it. That's what I really like about it. I wonder if this is like they're trying to do something like some of David Bowie's spacey type rock songs like Starman. And then you still got Lou Gramm singing at the end, and he has a really cool part. This is probably, I guess it's kind of an outlier because this one I think has the most experimentation on them. The rest just feel like you're kind of like your average arena rock stuff from the 70s, although saying average is kind of an insult now that I say that because Foreigner does some epic stuff with the genre they're good at. But yeah, I do love the experimentation on this song. It's definitely one of their most original concepts of a song, and it's one of my favorites on the album.
Glad you like that one. And that's not a hot take saying that. In fact, this song is kind of a fan favorite with Foreigner fans.
Okay. I got you.
All right. Our next song after that is going to be Headknocker.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say. I didn't write down a whole lot, except that I really liked the vocals on the song. Besides that, it was just okay.
Yeah, this is probably my least favorite song on the album. The storytelling is kind of stupid. It's just talking about this macho guy. Lou Gramm is like, don't mess with him. Headknocker, punch you in the face or whatever.
Yeah, this is my least favorite song on the album. To be honest, I didn't know what a Headknocker was, so I thought it was like I was hearing him say that, I'm like, is there like a dirty connotation to this song? I'm not really sure. It's like I couldn't take the song seriously just from the title alone. It's like when AC/DC had an album called Ball Breaker. You kind of know what you're going to get.
Oh, that album is full of terrible lyrics. I hate that album. I would give that album like a 2 out of 10. It is terrible.
Wow, I've not heard the album, but I just knew that was the name of one of their albums.
I'm not too huge on AC/DC in the first place, but that one was especially bad.
But I've heard, but this song, I guess it's okay as far as like on a production level, but on a lyrical level, the song's just kind of there. That's probably all I have to say about it.
All right, well, let's get back to some good stuff with The Damage Is Done. It's going to be the last song on the first side, so the last thing that we're going to hear before we got to flip that record over.
Yeah, and this, again, was a bit slow for me. I feel like this and Starrider were the slowest songs on the album, where I wasn't as into it as much as more of the upbeat ones, except for there's a ballad towards the end that I really liked. But yeah, I didn't have a lot to say. I wasn't a huge fan of it.
I really like this song. This is one of the kind of big ballads on the album, which is interesting because there's a live clip of Lou Gramm on the Foreigner 4 tour saying, all right, everyone, this is the first ballad we ever wrote, Waiting for a Girl Like You. And I'm like, oh, really? Are you discounting all those other ballads you've done before? Because you've done quite a few, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe he's talking about just single-wise.
Yeah.
But I really like this one. I love the keyboards that Al Greenwood does that bow down, 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 bow down, bow. But pedal point, that's what that is. It's pedal point. They're keeping that same bass note, but they're changing the chord. Super cool. And then Lou Gramm starts singing, and there's a really clever key change honestly not very far into the song where they completely switch up the key. I love the little interlude that it's like the it's like the guitar going like boom 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 do 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 do. You know, I can't exactly sing it, but there's this interlude right before it gets to the bridge, where it's just a really cool key change. It kind of changes the pace a little bit. And you get that bridge where he's like, there'll be rumors of my sense of humor. Down, down, down. And then it goes back to the original key. Just with the, oh, the damage is done. And I love the right before you get him screaming, it's all over. I love when he does that. That's one of my favorite parts of the song. But my absolute favorite part of the song is just the end, where all the instruments cut out and it just goes, the damage is done. And you got to flip the record over to hear the next half of the album. You're just like, that really left you with that. That moment leaves an impact on you, where it's just him a cappella singing that last line. Silence. You got to flip the record over, and you're just like, what are these guys going to do next? I'm going to flip that over and hear the next half.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty good song. I don't have as much to say on it compared to some of the others on the album, but I do like the production. The ending of the song, really epic way to finish off the first side. I do think it's better than the last song. I don't think it's on par with the really awesome first three songs on the album, but I think it's a solid ballad that complements the first side. Still has some good vocals on it, and it's a, like I said, good way to finish off the first half.
All right, we are starting the second half of this album with the third single, Long, Long Way From Home.
Yeah, I thought this was a decent song. It's a little more upbeat. I think I liked it better than some of the slower stuff so far that they've had. Can't say I remember a lot about the song. I just thought it was an okay song. Like, I like the upbeatness of it. I like the vocals again. Thought were great. So
Man, I love this one. This one is so cool. I love the beginning. It's like I don't know what the sound is on the keyboard. It's like a synclavier or something like that. It's either Al Greenwood or Ian McDonald playing it, and it's like down 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 bow 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 now 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 now, and then the synthesizer's like that. And I love on the second verse where the saxophone goes wah 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 wah. Ian McDonald gets a chance to play his saxophones. I think he co-wrote this song. But then you get that part where he's just like, I'm going home. And then the saxophone. You're just like, dude. It's not even that long of a saxophone solo, but right whenever he hits the, I'm going home, and right into that saxophone, you're just like, oh. And then I like the end. I was just like, I'm a long, long way from home. Sunset Monday. She's waiting for me, but I'm a long, long way from home. Bow, down, down, wow. Bow. Yeah, it's in a minor key, but they hit that major third at the end and make it major. So cool. I love that one.
Yeah, so this one's in my top 5. This is the great, I think, all those heavier sounding rock song, especially with the guitar riff that's on it. That's pretty cool. I love Lou Graham's vocals. I think Jason said it earlier. He's the MVP of this whole album because he has such a cool voice. Yeah, this is one. I don't know how well this did compared to the other ones. Probably not as much. I guess this is kind of underrated compared to other Foreigner singles, but I do really like it, especially the guitar work. The lyrical storytelling's pretty good. And it's got a good drive to it that I enjoy listening to, whether I'm in the house or whether I'm on the road. I think it's a cool song.
All right. The next song on the album is Woman Oh Woman. Another Mick Jones led song.
okay. I like that there's acoustic guitar on this one. I like the acoustic guitar playing, of course. I'm always a big fan of that. Yeah, it's another song that I thought was a decent song on here. It definitely not one of my favorite. I feel like 3 to 7 on this album are all songs that I didn't hate. I thought I didn't love, didn't hate. They're all like, yeah, this is all right. Again, the lead vocals help a lot of these songs where I'm like, I can always come away going, man, I like the singing on a lot of these songs, and they're played fine. They're not terrible by any means. They're just not as memorable for me. So I'm kind of like in the middle for a lot of these songs until we get to the last three.
I like this one. It's probably towards the bottom if I was to rank all the songs, but I like it better than Headknocker. I like the acoustic guitar on there, but my favorite part is whenever it switches over and Lou Gramm does the bridge on here. It's the dude is just such a powerful vocalist. He just steals the show. You guys are right. He's the MVP of this album. Um, Pretty solid song, but again, there's better stuff on here.
Yeah, I like this one all right. It's one of the weaker songs on the album. It's in my bottom 3, but I like this fine. There's some good guitar work. Mick Jones, they're not as good of a vocalist as Lou Gramm. I think fits the song very well, and of course Lou Gramm sings a part of the song too, which is pretty good. I like that the two kind of sing off much like together, like they did on Starrider. I like this was a solid ballad. Even though it's one of the weaker songs on the album, I still think it fits well on the album.
All right. Well, our next song is gonna be "I'm at War with the World."
Yeah, I really like the song. I think it has probably some of my favorite guitar playing on the album. Loved the guitar intro here. I thought was really good. And I think the overall guitar riff is really good. There's like kind of a really cool guitar riff that kind of goes throughout the song. So some of the strongest guitar work for me. Also drumming. I didn't say enough. I think the drumming is actually pretty good on this album. And this is definitely a song that I really kind of really felt the drumming. I was like, man, I really love this drumming and some really good drum fills and stuff like that. And they really, I don't know, they mic'd it really well or something because I was like, yeah, I'm really noticing the drumming here. I don't always notice it, but yeah, I really enjoying what he's doing here. Um, and this is one where I just love the backing vocals. Again, the backing vocals are so when they do backing vocals, I love backing vocals. I always anytime we do a song and there's backing vocals, like Fleetwood Mac, I always talk about the backing vocals. I love when they do stuff like that. But there's one part I'm trying to remember how it goes. I probably don't remember exactly, but there's some part where the backing vocals kind of do kind of the chorus part. I think they do the war with the world or whatever, however it
Yeah.
goes. And
War with the World.
yeah, war with the world. Yeah, I love that backing vocals, and I think lead singers singing maybe something similar at the same time. But I just love those backing vocals as they're doing that war with the world. Very catchy. Yeah, this is one of my favorite on the album.
This is the heaviest song on the album. This is so cool. I love how it just starts out with that guitar. And then it just charges right into it. Never need no need for military aid. Now for the charge of the light brigade. And then the drums like it just cuts out and the drums get a little fill there. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is gonna be good. You get that chorus, I'm at war with the world.
Yeah.
And then it goes like, I'll stay away. And then a key changes from boom, boom, boom. You go from that key to that key, and the synthesizer gets a solo. Al Greenwood. And it is one of the coolest synthesizer sounds. I can't even describe it. It sounds like kind of like sci-fi, but it's like
Yeah.
it's just like, whoa, you switch keys and then he gets a synthesizer solo. That was epic. And then of course it goes back. They get the backing. I love the backing vocals. Jason, thank you for bringing those up because I probably would have forgotten about that, but the backing vocals are such a cool part of the song when they go, war with the world, and he's like harmonizing in the background and just like doing some vocal ad-libbing at the end. Yeah, this song is epic. One of the most underrated songs on the album.
This to me, this song was just okay. This had a good production behind it. Uh, I like the song on a production level. There's some good guitar stuff, synthesizer stuff. Love the backing vocals, but this one just didn't stick out to me compared to the other songs on the album. So I guess that might be a hot take on this stream, but I like the other songs better.
Okay, now, Fool for You Anyway. That's the next song.
Yeah, I really like the song. This is my favorite discovery on the album. Like, that wasn't a big hit. Like, to me, this could have been a hit on the radio, and I would have loved it if I heard it on the radio. It's one of those songs for me, anyways. I call this a rock ballad, and this is like the best kind of rock ballad on the album, or best ballad on the album. For me, I thought it had a really nice melody overall. Really enjoyed it. And to me, it had the best harmonies when they sang together on the kind of the chorus part, or whatever. It was the best singing on the album for me, as far as like just all the voices just blended so well together. Really loved it. And drumming was really good too. I kind of, when I was listening to it today, I was like, that drumming again. The drumming is really good. Like for this rock ballad, it's really doing some good stuff. But I don't know. I just love that. I think it's kind of like the chorus. There's this part where it's like, I'll wait for you at home because I'm a fool for you anyway. And I don't know. I kind of love that part of the song. So
This should have been the fourth single to this album. This has serious hit potential. I have no idea why they didn't. Well, I don't know. Maybe they put it as a B-side of one of the other singles. I'd have to look that up. But if they wanted to put this as the fourth single, they totally could have done that, because this song is amazing. I love kind of the more relaxed feel that this one has. And the vocals. When I first heard this song, I thought it was Mick Jones, but it's not. It's Lou Gramm doing kind of a softer tone, and that really works. I was surprised. I'm like, that's a very versatile vocalist. If you can do this and you can do, feels like the first time at the same time. Well, not at the same time, but like, on the same album.
yeah.
I love the, like I said, the laid back vibe, the acoustic guitar, and the chorus. I'm a fool for you anyway. That gets stuck in your head. And I love the little like slide guitar, acoustic guitar solo that Mick Jones does.
Yeah.
Really cool. Really just, this song is a vibe. I really like it.
Yeah, I agree with Jason. This is the best discovery on the whole album. I'm surprised this was not a hit, because when I heard this song, I'm like, this could have been like a number one smash from Foreigner. This song is, and I think of all the slow ballads on this album, this is easily the best one. The production on this song reminded me of early 70s Hall & Oates, like songs like, especially songs like She's Gone and Sarah Smile, where you have just this really cool laid back production, some very soulful vocals on there. But obviously, unlike Hall & Oates, this song has some really amazing backing vocals, some great harmonies where you can tell it's like a big vocal group that sings on this. And every time we're like, I'm a fool for you anyway, I'm like, this got to be one of the best songs on the album. And I really love it for that. I think songs like this is what predates, some of their other big ballads, like I Want to Know What Love Is and Waiting for a Girl Like You. I think this was like the building blocks for some of the later big hits. And I kind of wish this was a hit as well, but hey, it's a great deep cut. And this is the final song that's in the top 5 for me.
All right. The big album closer, I Need You.
Yeah, I really like this song. I thought it was a really good closer to the album. I love this intro build up where it's like fading in, I guess, or something like that. I don't know, where you hear this guitar playing that's very soft. It gets a little bit louder, gets a little bit louder. And then the drums come in too, and then you hear the drums coming in. It's toot, 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 toot. It's kind of getting a little bit louder. And then this is, to me, like the most spacey song in the whole album. The synthesizer comes in, it's like, it's like the synthesizer sound. And I was like, are we in space now? Like, what is this song? Like, almost want to say it's like the most experimental song, but you said Starrider, which I can't disagree with that. That's pretty experimental. But this is one more experimental stuff to me, where I was like, where's this going? But then after the intro kind of builds up, all of a sudden the lead singer kicks in, and the song kind of starts when he kicks in, and it changes a little bit when he kicks in with the vocals, and it becomes like just a really cool rock song. And I'm like, again, some of my favorite vocals on the whole album. I thought this had a really good. Lou Graham, I'm guessing, singer, of course, is singing really, really good here when he comes in and starts kicking it in. And yeah, I like the chorus. I need you, do you need me too? Whatever the chorus was, I thought was really good. And yeah, it's actually one of my favorite as well on this album.
So this is a really cool song, but I would have switched the order of the last two songs. I would have had this be the penultimate track and then have Fool for You Anyway be the closer.
Yeah.
Especially since Fool for You Anyway ends on that. I'm a fool for you anyway. And it is the minor chord. It's not what you're expecting that song to end. That would have been such a odd but weird way and amazing way to end the album. That's the last thing you heard, because that's such a good song. This one is good, but it doesn't really have that album closer feel to it. It's like, this feels like the song that you would put somewhere in the middle of your album. The Fool for You Anyway sounds much more like an album closer. I do like it though. I like the fade in. The fade in is cool. I like the riff. And of course, Lou Graham's vocals are amazing. Like, again, in an amazing album, something has to be less amazing than the other songs. I like this better than Headknocker, and I like this better than, we're about the same as Woman Oh Woman. But yeah, those three are probably my bottom three songs on this album. Still like it, but again, I would have put Fool for You Anyway as the closer.
Well, I think Fool for You Anyway is the better song, but I think this is where I'm going to disagree. I actually think this works great as an album closer. It's the longest song on the album. It has that extended intro. It's got some really cool jam session playing on it. And I kind of like that in your album closer, where you have like a fun little jam session in there. And then when the song kicks in, when he starts singing, it's a really good rock song. I love the chorus, especially with the backing vocals on that. Oh, I need you. I'm like, yeah, I thought it was a cool rocking way to close out the album. Now, is it my favorite song on the album? No, it's lower on the ranking. It just barely missed my top 5, actually, but it didn't quite make it. But I still thought it was a really strong way to close out the album.
All right. Well, that is Foreigner's self-titled debut album. Let's go ahead and give our top 5 songs from this record.
All right. Number 5, I have I Need You. Number 4, I have At War with the World. Number 3, Fool for You Anyway. 2, Feels Like the First Time. And number 1, Cold as Ice.
So I'm going to give one extremely honorable mention that I really wanted to be in my top 5, and it's going to hurt me really bad not to put it in my top 5. But this is an amazing album, so tough competition. I'm so sorry to Fool for You Anyway. It's going to be my number 6.
Oh, okay.
My number 5 is I'm at War with the World. Number 4 is Feels Like the First Time. Number 3, Starrider. Number 2, Cold as Ice. My number 1 is actually Long, Long Way from Home. I really like that song.
Wow.
All right. Interesting.
All right. Well, my one honorable mention is I Need You. And then my top 5, number 5, Long, Long Way from Home. Scott's number 1. Number 4, Fool for You Anyway. Number 3, Feels Like the First Time. Number 2, Starrider. Really dug that song. And then number 1, I agree with Jason. Cold as Ice is easily the best song on this album.
Yeah, you guys had it at 1. I had it at 2. I'm sensing that's a good song.
Yeah, we all agree on that one.
Yeah. All right. What we're gonna give this out of 10?
Yeah, so I ended with an 8 out of 10, which still, it's a good album. It's a recommendable album. I like the album. For me, the first 2 songs, it starts with a really good start, and then those are, of course, my top 2 songs were the first 2, and then the other 3 in my top 5 were the last 3. So to me, it had like a really good beginning, really good end. The middle part was kind of the weak part of the album, where I wasn't as memorable or I didn't like as much, but I still think it's a good album.
So this is a good video to go ahead and introduce this. I am completely switching up my rating system because when I was doing my top 10 album of the 70s lists, I was giving all these albums, like, so many albums, like 9.5, 9, 10, and I'm like, am I really going to listen to this album that many times? I gave this a 9, but I feel like I won't listen to that much. It's kind of a high score for that. So I'm redoing my ranking system to make it more fair. I'm taking out the 0.5s. I can only do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. So I think that will make it a little bit more fair. And whenever we do our averages, that will also make it easier to calculate an average because you're not going to have any halves. I'm going to give this one a 10, though.
Oh, nice.
It's going to be more difficult to give a 10, too. Albums that have gotten a 10 in the past maybe will get a 9 instead. I don't want to go around handing out 10s to every album we listen to. I want it to be something special, but this album is definitely getting a 10. It's amazing. Some classics on here. Cold as Ice rocks. Yeah, even the songs that I said I didn't like as much, when I'm listening to the album, they don't bother me. It's just I wouldn't listen to them on their own. But when I'm listening to them on the album, I'm like, yeah, that's a good rock song. You know, yeah, I Need You. I like that one. Yeah, the presentation of this album, this package of how many songs are on here? I think there's 10 songs or something like that. It's just a great album. I would expect to see this on my top 10 albums of 1977 list, even though that album or that year is going to be super stacked and it's going to be really difficult to make a top 10 for that year. But this one is most likely going to be on there.
All right, so Jason gave this an 8. Scott gave it a 10. I'll meet in the middle and go 9. I think it's a really strong debut album. It's got 2 of their best hit songs on it. I love Cold as Ice. Starrider and Fool for Your Anyway are some of the best deep cuts I've heard from them so far. I couldn't give it a 10 because I thought it War with the World was okay, and I didn't care for Headknocker. I would think that was what hurt it. But you got like 8 really good songs on this album and a really amazing top 5. So really good start for Foreigner, and I'm hoping Foreigner will get a 10 at some point, maybe the next album or 4.
I know an album that at least some of us are going to give a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went ahead and plugged in the average of this album. Whenever you take a 10, a 9, and an 8, the average is a 9. So Foreigner's first album is going to get an average of 9. That's pretty good, especially for your first album. All right, well, thank you guys for watching our review of Foreigner's first album. We're excited to get to dig deeper into the discography of Foreigner, and we will see you next time when we review their second album, very appropriately titled Double Vision, for their second album.
A good song.
Yeah, great song.
It also includes the big hit Hot Blooded. It's going to be the other one. I've found that every Foreigner album seems to have at least 2 really big hits on it. Like, you look at the track listing, and there's at least 2 songs that you're like, oh, I know that one.
Yeah,
I heard that on the radio all the time. Yeah, the next one is Double Vision and Hot Blooded. It's the 2 big hits. Mm-hmm. But there's always a third song that's like a minor hit that you're like, I wish this one got more attention. The one on Double Vision is called Blue Morning, Blue Day, which was a single.
Oh, that's a great.
I love that one. But excited to get to talk about Double Vision. Any closing remarks before we go?
I don't think any of us were cold as ice or hot-blooded when talking about this album, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm really digging Foreigner so far. I'm really I'm really excited to like deep more into them. Definitely one of those bands I haven't really listened to enough of.
All right, well, thank you guys. We will see you in the Double Vision review. Until then, remember that music is art and art is expression. We'll see you next time.